Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, Lee. Good morning, everybody. Hoi zusammen.
Guten Morgen miteinander. And hello, happy Friday from what's going to be beautiful day here in Zurich. It's a little bit more overcast at the moment, but we're going to have a fantastic sunny rest of the afternoon for sure. I hope everybody's doing well. It's Friday. And we've almost made the weekend, long weekend with Swiss National Day coming up as well. I'm here with the legend that is Lucas Zender, as always, for the Ask a Recruiter sessions, the rockstar recruiter. How are you doing, Lucas?
Yes, I'm doing great. I told you before, I am a summer person. I really enjoy hot temperature. It can never be enough for me. So today it feels rather cold for me. But the sun is coming up, and I think it's going to be hot again in the afternoon. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. But 25 degrees at least, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's okay.
And welcome.
How about you, Lee? How about you?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually finishing up my week before holidays. I am off to Crete on Monday for 10 nights. So
nice.
After a well-deserved summer holiday, been working hard. Recruiting recruiters, and looking forward to having a bit of rest, a bit of time off. Maybe you can hear from my voice, actually, it's a little bit hoarse, as we say in English. So I recovered this week from having COVID a couple of weeks ago, which not much fun, but luckily wasn't too bad. And it's actually the first time I caught it, I think, since the pandemic. So I've managed to dodge it for somehow 2.5 years. It got me in the end, as it will probably everybody.
Yeah. So I wish you a speedy recovery then, Lee.
Thank you very much.
You can enjoy Crete at its fullest.
Exactly. Looking forward.
We have 10 viewers.
Yeah.
Maybe can you 10 viewers? Oh no, it's 11 now. Could you make some noise in the comment section so that we see who is with us here today?
Yeah. Say hi, let us know where you're viewing from. And of course, this is a live session today. So like always, we want to get some input from your side to be able to answer your questions live. That's the most fun for us. Maybe to introduce, for those who don't know, the Ask a Recruiter series. It's a series that me and Lucas have been doing for quite some time now. And where we engage on different topics. It can be sometimes towards helping candidates. It can be towards helping recruiters. And today's topic is an exciting one. I know something that Lucas is very passionate about as well. And it's about reorientation. Lucas and I have together more than 24 years of recruitment experience. They say time flies when you're having fun. So hopefully with our experience, with our passion for the industry and for people in general, we can help you along the way towards reorientation. So as I say, we've got questions lined up, but we would love to hear from you what your questions are. And pop into the comments, say hi, let us know you're watching, and we can jump into the session for sure. I think we also have about a minute lag. So whatever we say will take a minute before anybody actually hears it and can react to it, Lucas. So,
I do a clap so we can see it.
Yeah,
that's how we do it as musicians.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? Okay. Then you see what happens. Cool. Well, whilst everybody's kind of getting into the comments, letting us know they're watching, perhaps we can jump into the first and kind of most obvious question that I have, and that is, what is reorientation? What does it mean?
Yeah. Should I start with my thoughts?
Yeah, please.
I think it is a period of time where you kind of rearrange things. So you see that like old structures or old, plans don't work anymore, or also routines that you are used to doing, maybe sometimes for even many years, and they don't seem to work anymore. They don't lead you to the results that you are striving for anymore. Maybe they did in the past, but they have lost their powers, and you kind of get stuck. You kind of get stuck somewhere when we're talking about careers, it can be maybe you have, you know, like reached a certain ceiling or a certain platform. Maybe salary wise, you are like, yeah, you're like on a platform, it doesn't go on for you anymore, and you can get more salary out of your job. Or also, maybe even more important, like in terms of self-development, you want to learn new things, you want to
Mhm.
see new people, you want to like develop yourself and your personality, and you see, hey, in this job, it doesn't take me anywhere from where I am at the moment. And I think then it needs like a basic structural change, and this is the reorientation.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I think, you know, there can be a lot of different triggers that that kind of can motivate people in these times. It can be, you know, it can be, for example, in parenthood, where you've your kids have got a bit older, you start to gain more energy, more time back. You are more focused on wanting more of a challenge in your work than perhaps you wanted over the last years. You mentioned salary. It could be around salary. Perhaps you've reached a plateau within the organization, and somehow you need to make a change in order to increase that. Or also, yeah, development. Looking, you know, reaching a certain ceiling within either the industry, the role, the company that you're in, and you're looking to kind of make a change,
Yeah,
from there. Yeah,
yeah.
make a pivot. And I always associate it with kind of doing something completely different. I don't think it always needs to be completely different, but I think it's about change, right?
It is about change. I think it has also parallels to a crisis. Like when
Mm-hmm,
you have like a crisis in the stock market or in the
hmm
economics or whatsoever, it's
hmm
just like things have to be rearranged. It doesn't
hmm
mean like that all of the things have to be rearranged, but some have to be rearranged. So I think this is what reorientation is all about. Like find out what what points, what parameters, what little knobs you have to, you know, like twist and turn, and what buttons you have to push so that you can really have the change that you are looking for.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think you because one of the things that you do, Lucas, as well is or you I certainly did a lot more in the past as well, is around coaching, coaching people, coaching candidates. I'm sure kind of reorientation
hmm
came up a lot as a topic in these times for you, and that you've helped guide people from that point of maybe unhappiness to deciding and looking at what it is that they need to change in their life and in their situation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, I have accompanied many, many people during that process. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, let's jump into then the first question around that. And as I say, this is a live session, everyone. So, if you have questions you'd like to ask around the topic to me or Lucas, feel free, please, to let us know in the comments. Feel free to say hi. Don't be shy. We don't bite.
Yeah.
We're nice people.
There's not
Let
much
us know
going
where
on
you're
there, huh?
watching. Yeah, exactly. It's Friday. The weather's not so great. Maybe everyone needs to wake up, a quick coffee. But yeah, let us know.
Everybody's on holiday,
Holiday mode,
lying on the
exactly.
beach. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They need to first of all put down their beer or margarita before they can type something, and maybe the motivation is not quite there.
Yeah.
But
Or maybe at this time in the day, the Bloody Mary, you know, in the
yeah,
morning. Mm.
exactly. The hair of the dog. Yeah, perfect.
Well,
So
I stick
then
with
let's
coffee here.
yeah, exactly. Me with water. So, okay, let's jump into the first question or the second question
hmm
then, about this kind of signs that indicate that somebody's not happy in their job. I mean,
hmm
what are the things that you've seen along the way through these coachings
Yeah.
that you've done? Yeah.
So mostly when people reached out to me because of
Hmm.
that topic, the reorientation topic, it
Hmm.
was when they have already felt like physical symptoms. So it was
Hmm.
almost like, as we say it in Switzerland, it was 5 to 12, like the last moment to change
Worth the
something before
training. Yeah,
something bad happens. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is usually, so the typical symptoms are headaches,
Hmm.
lack of sleep,
Hmm.
problems with the digestion,
Hmm.
and overall, like very, very low energy level, also when it comes to physical activities. So this
Hmm.
is like the very typical thing. And of course, it's always accompanied by like depression. like symptoms of depression. It can be light symptoms, it can be more severe symptoms. What I always told these people was like, guys, you know, I'm a social psychologist, I'm not a therapist. So maybe you want to see a doctor and really do a body check and really see what's going on. I think that's very important. But for the rest, when we talk about career, I can help you. And so when you start feeling like physical symptoms, it's a real urgency that you have to change something, that you have to think about it.
Yeah, it's your body screaming out, saying, "Help me!
Yeah.
we need to do something here." And
Yes.
you know, I can really relate to that as well, because there was a time in my career, you know, without going into too much details, but where I had real problems with my stomach, and you know, and I remember what I ended up making a change, not necessarily reorientating myself or doing something completely different, but I made a change. And you know, these problems with my stomach were happening for quite some time, at least a year, and I felt like it was quite chronic. And after I'd made the change, after I'd left my job, literally almost like from one day to the next, it was gone. And I had no problems whatsoever. So I can really relate to this kind of, you know, this impact on you physically as well, not just mentally. Yeah.
It happens a lot. I have experienced people that start looking younger. They have changed their jobs and they look, you know, like very, very, you know, fucked up, you know. And then they have really changed their job. They have gotten into a new setting. Sometimes it was a new company with a new team, and they started to bloom, to really like literally glow, and they just started to look younger. And this is so nice to see that there is a way to get a better situation. There is always a way, and that's really cool.
But I think that's one of the challenges, is that people, as you say, foi for 12, like last minute, when things are really bad, you know, that's when people are kind of looking and considering a change. And I guess that leads us nicely onto the next question. You know, when should people be considering changing jobs? Because clearly 5 to 12 is too late.
Yeah, it's too late. So we have discussed the physical symptoms. Of course, I mean, that's a clear sign. We should take like signs from our body, we should take them seriously in any way. So, but other than that, now maybe let's leave that physical, like kind of almost medical side of the topic. Maybe let's move on to more like psychological side of things. So I think there is like two things that you should take into account. Like the first thing is, do you have like a goal that lies within the future? Like I want to be, let's say, a manager, or I want to reach a certain amount of salary, or I want to work in another country, or whatsoever, or I want to work in the industry XYZ. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. And then you have to ask yourself, does the job where I'm in now, where I'm working now, does this job lead me to that goal? That's very satisfying if it does. If it doesn't, then the next sphere would come up, and that would be the second sphere. It is, does my job reflect with my values? Is it congruent with my values? And this is A and B. So does it lead me to a goal that I desire in the future? And B, is it aligned with my values? And if you can say yes to both, that's wonderful. Then you should probably not change the job. You should probably not be thinking about relocation, but more about rearranging things. So maybe you are going through a phase that's a bit difficult because you might have a difficult client or a difficult peer to handle with at work. Maybe you should find tactics and strategies to arrange so that you can go on. And if you can say yes to number one, so yeah, it takes me to my goal, but it's not aligned with my values. Maybe because you are maybe working for a big corporate or like a consultancy, a soulless, you know, like a soulless company that really, you know, like with a lot of politics, and it's just not fun working, but it takes you closer to your goal. Then you can talk to yourself and say, hey,
Yeah.
man, I just go through this phase now for 2 years because it
Yeah.
really takes me to my goal. It's not aligned with my values,
Yeah.
but I will arrange myself and I will bite and I will go through this
Durabisa.
phase,
Yeah. Hmm.
durchbeißen, and
Yeah.
that's fine. And
Mhm.
that's absolutely fine. And if you can only say yes to B, so your
Yeah.
values are online with the company,
Hmm.
but it's not online with your goals,
Hmm.
then this might be a nice arrangement for the moment, but it will probably not satisfy you. You will probably be a bit bored all the time,
Hmm.
or you will probably be a bit, like under challenged, not
Hmm.
not be challenged enough, and maybe your self development will fall back. So
Yeah.
I think these two spheres are very important to
Yeah.
take into account when you are asking yourself the question that we have here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are really good points, and ultimately, I guess there's no perfect job, perfect situation. There's always going to be positives and negatives or challenges within any role and company or lead. And if you don't have those, then hey, stay where you are and enjoy the ride, because
Yeah.
there's that saying, "This too will shall pass." These
Mm.
things change,
Yeah.
and it's great to be in those moments. But I think.
Yeah.
Coming back to what we were or what we're talking about here, I think too often people wait until they're really unhappy,
Yes.
and like we said before, physical feelings and physical reactions and stress and other things, and then there puts a certain urgency on trying to find something new, which is never ideal, because you want to be able to look and wait and see
Yep.
different things, and really only move when the perfect opportunity or something really great comes up, not because
Yep.
you're desperate and you have to make a change. And I think then that becomes too late. I often say, just in general, with candidates and people I'm speaking to, that actually somehow when you're happy and in a good place and things are going well, it's a great time to be open and to listen to opportunities, because also that's when you're most attractive for other employers, and that's when you're going to present yourself at your in your best light, compared to when you're at the end of your tether and kind of then you're going through interviews and you're miserable, and now you're trying to perform well in these kind of show yourself in the best light in these interview
Yeah.
situations. So
True.
um, I think
Absolutely
there's
true.
something to be said
Yeah.
about being open and kind of just evaluating, like you said, does it lead me to my goal? Does it match my values? If not, to start reflecting and thinking. It leads us perfectly onto the next question, because I think this is something that people struggle with, especially when we talk about changing maybe the job and the industry, the work that you're
Mhm.
doing, and it's kind of and I've been there myself. How do I find out what I really want? Let's say, someone's in a role, they're not happy, they know they need a change. What advice have you given people in the past to find out what they really want to do, and to something that's realistic and within their grasp is the other
Mhm.
thing as well.
Mhm. Hey, maybe is it okay for you if I go back to the other topic before
Sure.
we go to this question?
Yeah.
Because
Um,
it just a thought has crossed my mind, something that
mhm.
I experience a lot, like also when I, like read through LinkedIn, for example. I think there is a positivity hype going on. All the
Mhm.
people are about your work has to be fun, it has to make you happy. Think positive, like all the time. Everything is about positivity, and it's kind of a hype. And I
Mhm.
think this is dangerous, and I think this is not what real life is about.
The
We have, I
Instagram
mean,
effect.
it's apps. I mean, it sounds good, and I see
Mhm.
that people who promote that kind of message, they get
Mhm.
a lot of nice feedback on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
and I feel really happy for them that they have nice feedback. So congratulations.
Mhm.
But I think this is not what life is about. Life is
Yeah.
always about problems that we have to solve. It's always
Mhm.
about the negative aspects. It's always about phases that are hard on us and we have to
Mhm.
endure. And I think this is very important. We don't have to always like have that pressure that
Mhm.
everything has to be perfect and fun and positive, and really like accept that life is difficult and
Yeah.
there is challenges, there is obstacles. Also, if you love your job and you really like what you are doing, there will
Mhm.
always be obstacles, there will always
Absolutely.
be stupid people, there will always be stupid customers,
Mhm.
it happens all the
Bad
time.
bosses, bad moments.
And sometimes I myself, I am stupid, you know? I
Yeah,
mean,
of course.
this is absolutely normal to life, and we have to learn to deal with that thing. I am the last person who says, think positive all the time. It's not true.
Yeah.
Sometimes think negative. What could be the
Mhm.
worst outcome? And you will do the right things. So that
Yeah.
was just something that I want to mention to the topic before that we have discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think it's a great point. It's as I say, the Instagram effect. People are not
Yeah.
posting crappy stuff, shitty situations that's happening to them when they're not feeling good. Because who wants to show, my life sucks at the moment, or my job is not cool, or whatever it might be. So you get overwhelmed with all this positivity and great image, and everything's fine. We all have our moments. We all have our ups and downs. I think it's a really good point, Lucas. So thanks for sharing that. So, how does somebody find out what they really want? What kind of advice have you given people in the past? What do you see really works for people, and something that's reasonable that they can obtain?
Hey, man, it really reflects very well with what I just said before, and you also. Maybe it's not about what you really want.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about what others want from you. It's
Mm-hmm.
like maybe there is that one thing why people keep coming to you. You are their
Mm-hmm.
go-to person because you are kind of a expert in XYZ. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
don't even know this so far, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like people just coming to you, searching for advice, contacting you, sending you emails and stuff. This happened to me with that whole Lucas training thing. So I mean, people started to send me, their Zeugnisse, their working certificates. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is this fine? Is this all good? Can I show this to
Mm-hmm.
my next employer? And I was like, yeah, maybe you should look at this and that and this.
Mm-hmm.
So they started to tell their friends, hey, you got to go to that Zehnder guy, show him your CV, your work certificates. And so it kind of, emerged out of that. And I think that's a good model for maybe our listeners and watchers here. It's like maybe don't think all the time, what do I want? Because we people mostly, we don't know what we want. We have no clue. It's like, what do we want? Yeah, we want peace. We want to have a warm house. We want to eat pasta and burgers or vegetarian food and feel well and be close to our relatives and our friends. But what do we really want? We do not know. And maybe it's better to approach it from the other side. Why are people coming to us? What for? What is the reason that we are their go-to person? And if you find out this is very satisfying because it's within human nature that you want to be wanted. You want to be searched for things. You want to be asked for advice. This is when we people feel good. So mostly it's better than asking, what do I find what I really want, which is super difficult for many of us. Maybe it's better, what is the thing about us that makes people coming to us?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's great advice, and to add to that, sometimes finding out what you want can be very challenging. Maybe it can be easier to start with, well, what don't you want? As you say, coming back a little bit to what you mentioned earlier about, okay, does it lead me to my goal? Does it reflect my values? What values are really important to me? To be able to align that. And I think Katarina's also put a really good point here as well about what you can do. Be curious. Talk to people that do different jobs from you. Learn from them. It's something that you develop over time. It doesn't happen. There's no magic website where you can go in and say, okay, let me answer a questionnaire. It's going to tell me that, they exist. I don't know how accurate they are. But I think that learning about what other people are doing, like Katarina mentioned, can be great. So thank you for that comment, Katarina. I think I think as we get older as well, our priorities change, our circumstances change, and maybe what we're looking for from a career, from work, from our self-development also changes. And but then if we talk about, we were speaking before about kind of, is it time to leave, stress, different things. I mean, what do you recommend to somebody who's stressed at work? It's not as simple as, is it time to leave and do I need to find another solution, right? Or is it?
Well, it's depending on the degree of stress. Stress is something very individual. So there is people, they get an email like maybe, can you send me this or that contact? And then, oh my God, it's stress. And there is people who, like work like 12 hours a day and they have a absolutely tremendous agenda that they have to fulfill every day, and they kind of not stressed at all. So it's very individual. But as we talked before, of course, if it reaches a certain physical level, then it should be taken seriously, and you should really seriously think about reorientation, maybe also job-wise, because who is helped when like when you collapse? When you collapse and you disappear, you maybe have to go to an institution even, and maybe you are away for a year. Nobody's helped. It's not good for your employer. It's not good for your family, your like friends. It's not good for yourself. So you should really take care that you do not collapse. I think this is the priority number one. If your stress is so high, your stress level, that you're about to take severe damage, collapse, and fall out of the normal cycle of life, then the warning lights are deep red.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. If you have questions as well, please, live session. So feel free, ask away. Let us know what you would like to hear on the topic of reorientation. Another question that we had as well was about the approach to reorientation and kind of what are the first steps. So let's say I've decided I want to reorientate myself. What's the first things that I should do?
Hey, I have talked so much. I think you should start answering this question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So from my side, I think the first step that you need to think about is the kind of, let's say, what you enjoy the most. How I would approach it is thinking about the things. What do I enjoy the most about my job? About previous jobs I've done? What are the tasks, the things that I really enjoy doing? Do I still have those in my job? And to reflect and think about, okay, what kind of opportunities could involve these positions as well. I think sometimes also along our career, we find ourselves moving into different positions that we didn't plan along the way. We simply follow a career path, and opportunities happen. Things get put in our path, and we take those opportunities. I think everyone always has these jobs and things that they thought about in the past that they would like to do as well. Does that reflect the things that they enjoy? And I like the idea as well of looking at job descriptions to see, okay, what are companies asking for the positions that I'm looking for, that I would be interested in, and how much of the experience do I have? What's missing? What do I need to do to bring myself to that level? So I think the first step for me is really a reflection on, what do I enjoy doing? What do I want to do more of? And what do I not want to do? Because then I think that can already start to build a picture of the kind of role that I would like to do in the future. I think we develop and we gain new skills along the way. So the skills you have today after 15 years of work are maybe not the same skills you had 5 years ago when you entered into your company, and perhaps you're offering something else to a future company. So I guess that would be the first thing for me. Really work out, what do you enjoy doing? Does your job give you enough of that? And what kind of jobs actually do give you a lot of that content, where that is a big focus? But what do you think?
Hey, absolutely. And it just reminded me of, I was just looking it up now. I will share the link in the comments. Katerina, who has just given us that very good comment about that constant brainstorming, she has also shared an article with us, and what you just said reminded me very much of this article. I will. Can I send it to you and you put it into the chat?
Absolutely.
Is that fine?
Sure.
Okay, it's this one here. So it's a guy on LinkedIn, and His name is David Bloom,
Okay.
and he was in
How did you send
sales.
it to me? On LinkedIn or somewhere else?
I sent it in the chat here.
In our chat. Okay, yeah.
Yes, in our
I'll
chat that we
share that
have,
now.
yeah,
Okay,
for the
sure.
live streaming.
hmm
So maybe you can share it with the people
Yeah,
here
I'm
watching.
dropping it into the thing now. There we go.
So I will quickly explain so you can read it later. But it's a guy, his name is David Bloom, and he has been in sales for 28 years. But he was always interested in psychological topics.
Okay.
And he asked himself, okay, what should I do now? I'm not so happy anymore with my sales role. Should I like give up everything now and start the psychology
Yeah.
studies at university? This will take me 5 years or more that I will have to cut back on salary and everything. And he kind of find another solution. I think he's kind of kept his job in sales, but he has started to connect it with aspects of psychology. And
Okay.
he did a coaching. He did a coaching education, and he also started a podcast with psychological topics, with I think 200 something episodes now, like 289 episodes. So,
Right. Yeah.
and now he's super happy, and I think that's a very, very good concept that you don't, go out and change everything completely, because that's also very risky to do. You can fail. There is a lot of potential of failure in there. It's better to, as you said before, like check out what do I really like about my situation now. Maybe it's just a couple of things that I don't like anymore. And then you adjust and you connect the old with the new. So in the case of David Bloom, it was the old was like his sales experience, with the new, the psychological topics. And he started to build, like a new construction that serves his values and that serves his goal, that's in the future. And I think that's very nice. I think that's a good concept. Connect old with new. Not like throw the old away and concentrate only for the new now. No, connect the two. And I think that's a fantastic concept that David really impressively is showing us here.
Yeah. Okay. So check out the link, everyone, that I shared in the comments to see what Lucas is talking about there. And I think this comes back to the point of kind of not being too fixed in saying, okay, if I want to do something in that case, for example, around coaching and development, that I have to quit my job, do studies for the next 2 years, get a certification and a degree, and then I can move into a role which asks for such a thing. But maybe there is a kind of side way of doing that, of learning and developing yourself on the side, getting enrichment, getting inspired through putting your energy and efforts into that outside of work, developing yourself in that way, and slowly but surely building yourself in that direction. I think it's something I hear a lot, where people say, especially as people are getting older and they feel they have a lot to give back, and that they can help other people. They're wiser. They have advice that they can share. So many people I speak to say, hey, I'd love to get into coaching. I'd love to get into helping people, to advising people, but I just don't see a way of making that bridge from where I am right now to there. And I think that he's obviously done a great job of making that transition and owning it, and it didn't happen overnight, right? And I think that's a great example to use.
Yeah. I just got by the way, I just got a private message. I will not reveal the name because I'm not sure. Maybe the person has sent me the private message because he or she doesn't want to be in the comments. But the person sent me a message saying, quoting Elon Musk. And the quote is, I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. So I just leave this here in the room, sharing that quote of Elon Musk given to me by one of our viewers. And yeah, Elon Musk is always inspiring, isn't he?
Yeah, in Musk we trust, as my friend Gannon would always say. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so definitely the best first step will be think about what is good at the moment, not only focus on the negative things. So what is good,
Mhm.
what is a good base that I can build on,
Mhm.
I think that's a good first step. Yeah.
Barbara's added something in the comments as well. Most people have an internal feeling or intuition when it's time to move from a job, but often fear paralyzes us to do something about it. It's such a common thing, I think. Yeah, and as she mentions, we need to maintain hope that there's something better out there. Take some actions step by step. Exactly. Thank you, Barbara. It doesn't have to be all at once. It doesn't have to be immediate. But step by step, taking the first step is that. But I think that's a genuine statement, and something that many people feel, right?
Yeah.
Fear of the unknown, fear of change. And I guess the fear of staying in the same situation needs to outweigh and the problem and stress and unrest and unhappiness needs to be strong enough, perhaps for some people, to push them beyond that fear. Then becomes bigger than the fear itself of what happens if I change. Then it happens. The fear is what happens if I don't change.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It's the two sides of the motivation. Now, hello, here is the psychologist. Sorry, I apologize, but it's like you either move towards something that you desire, or you run away from something that you fear. And yeah, it's a classic, and I think it's worth to reflect. Like, am I running away from something, or am I moving towards something? And in the best case, you are moving towards something because it gives you more rationality about it. If you are running away from something, you might do a mistake. You might make a mistake. You might change your job too soon. And this is also it's also a dangerous pattern. I have seen it a lot. People who have changed their job too soon because of fear, they kind of develop that pattern, because then they get into the new situation. It's not better. Oh my God, here is the fear again. I have to run again. Okay, they change the job again. They do this. Mostly they do this 2 or 3 or even 4 times, and then they have, and now I am the career advisor who's talking, then they have a problem because their CV looks like a mosaic, and it will be harder to get a good job then. So this is dangerous. Yeah. Fear is dangerous.
I think that is also another one of the, coming back to Barbara's comment, it's another one of these fears, isn't it? When somebody really needs to make a change, but then I don't have enough time in my current company. My CV is going to look bad. I think you need to, you need to. It comes back to the question before about, is it time to leave, or do we find another solution? I think you should always look at the different solutions that you can have internally, and conversations that can be had, and be very being able to reflect on yourself as well before making the decision. But if it is time, it's time.
And again, like, connect the old with the new. Like, what is positive about the situation? At least some things will be positive. Is that a good base to start from? Like, keep that base. Don't give it up, because you have worked for that base maybe several years or at least months, and it would be a pity to like overthrow everything just because of fear, or because because of other people pushing you, like with that wrong pressure of positivity. Work has to be fun every day, la la la, unicorn land. I mean, this is very important. Like, be aware of your base, the one that gives you strengths, the one that makes you a go-to person, and then you can start, grasping for the stars and align them, like really arrange the things that you really want, that take you closer to your goals, that are aligned with your values. I think that's very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a few more people joined into the live session, so feel free to say hi. Let us know your questions around reorientation, if there's things you would like us to answer. One thing I'd like to ask you, which I think is also really a key and challenging point as well, whether it's the question directly, but it's certainly a topic when it comes to reorientation, changing, doing something different, because it's the financials. If I today decide I'm not going to be a recruiter anymore, and I want to work in, I don't know, something new. I want to work in marketing. I'm going to start maybe as a junior, or certainly not as a senior and experienced person. I'm not going to have the same salary level that perhaps I have today. And I think this is also a big topic that stops people from. Whoever that was in the background, it's
That
gonna
was
stop.
Klaus, the legendary
Very loud.
Klaus.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to stop people from making a change, right? Because they have a certain lifestyle, a certain level of income that they have today, and this can be a real challenge. I mean, what are your thoughts about that? What advice do you give to someone in that way? Should somebody make less money just because they're reorienting, reorientating? Yeah, if that's
In my opinion, yes, of course. I mean, what do they expect? I mean, if you are working in a bank and you are making like 160,000 Swiss francs,
Yeah.
okay, nice for you. But maybe you are working with knowledge that is like stemming from the 90s. You cannot like expect any company in the world to pay you the same amount of money when you are reorientating, maybe learning new technologies, new tools, and so forth. When you are picking up new, modern, up-to-date knowledge, you cannot expect anyone to pay you the same money. It's just not possible. And if you cannot afford to learn less, then maybe okay, if you are like a single dad or a single mom, like with two kids, and I can absolutely understand, but still then there is people who have managed to do it. And although it was super hard, but sometimes you just have to go one step back to go two steps further in the future. And this sounds ridiculous now for somebody who is in that situation. I totally agree. I have had this discussion many times. But I mean, it's not only about me or about you wanting
Yeah.
to I mean, it's the world. You are part of a world and you are contributing to something. And you have to adjust your expectations. And
Yeah.
this is how it works. If you cannot afford to earn less, then maybe you have to ask yourself, what kind of money am I getting? Is this just pain money? Like, I'm in pain. The job doesn't take me closer to my goals. It's not online with my values, but it's such nice pay. It's such nice pay money. This
Yeah.
will ruin you in the long run. You will collapse, and then nobody's helped. Not yourself, not your employer, not your kids, not anyone. So I
Yeah.
think these are really important and hard, tough questions. Yeah.
But I think that you also have to say the situation is not going to change. If you want to change your industry or change your job, change what it is that you do, I think you
Yeah.
can't expect to have the same salary as what you have today, right? So
No.
the point is, how long are you going to be able to go in a situation environment where you're not happy, or you can't develop, or you can't grow? It's like ripping off the plaster or the band-aid, right?
Yep.
I think it's that situation's not going to change. Yes, I believe that somebody with many years of experience, just because they're changing, shouldn't have to now start on a junior salary of somebody who's 10, 15 years younger, because there are life experiences and work experience that are going to be transferable and relevant across lots of different industries and work. I think there's maybe a balance, but the point is, if you can't afford to earn less, what about if you can't, but as you said before, what about if you can't afford to let your health and mental health get into a situation which is much more damaging than any money that you might lose? And the quicker you're able to do it, the quicker you can progress and go back up the ladder financially.
And what's also very important here is, are you acting because you are moving toward a desired state, or are you acting because of fear? You are running away from something. And if you are running away from fear, you are always like in a disadvantage. I mean, then you do like, the impulsive decisions, and then you make mistakes. But this is about reorientation, is about a long-term view. It's not about, people want always like everything now. Now, I want
Yeah.
it now. I have ordered it on Amazon. I want it now. A drone
Yeah.
has to bring it to me, in best case. But this is not how it works with
Yeah.
reorientation career-wise. You really have to take your time. So if you feel that tingle inside you, like,
Yeah.
I'm not so happy anymore, then it's time to make a plan. Then it's time to think about, what can I do? What do I like? Where
Yeah.
am I strong at? Why do people come to me? But
Yeah.
what are the aspects that I want to be different, that I want to change?
Mhm.
And then you start changing them step by step. And then after 1 or 2 years, you will be in a whole other situation,
Yeah.
which will be great for you. But if you like, I'm unhappy, you're always, like complaining, moaning,
Mhm. Mhm.
crying, I'm not happy, the job is not good, nobody likes me,
Mhm.
nobody sees my worth, I'm not paid well, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Complaining all the time. I know many people like this. I mean, I
Mhm.
got so many mails and phone calls from people
Mhm.
thinking in that way. It's like, and then they quit because my
Mhm.
boss is a narcissist,
Mhm.
and then they quit, and then they fall into this pattern because they just running away from fear and not really like think about, they're not rational about it. And I think
Yeah.
that's a very, very important point. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's. I think we have one more question, maybe that I had here that I would like to bring up as well, and then I think we are slowly coming to the end of the session, unless somebody would like to ask something. So. I think one of the challenges can be as well when people are looking at. Yeah, Matt's impatient as well. He wants his Uber Eats. So it's about the lack of experience. Let's say someone has a goal that they want to change industry, they want to move, and they see that there's a lack of experience that they have compared to what they're seeing in the job descriptions, right? So there's clearly, maybe it could be an education, it could be a certain experience or skill that is always asked for. I want to change jobs, I want to become a marketing expert, and they're always asking for something specific that I don't have. How do people get over that? What advice can you give them to kind of work through that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically, in my opinion, only one solution. You have to do it.
Mhm.
And you either do it as a side hustle to your
Mhm.
like usual work where you have your contract and you
Mhm.
build up experience and know-how there. You
Mhm.
do it with education alongside your job,
Mhm.
or you if you can do that, you go to a company and you say, guys, I have this and that experience. I know I'm not a senior, I'm not super experienced, but this is what I
Mhm.
want to do for the rest of
Yeah.
my life,
Mhm.
or for at least a very long time. I
Mhm.
will come to you and I will work for almost no money. And I
Mhm.
will do it for X amount of time, maybe a couple of
Mhm.
months or something.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
I'm good, I want a contract and I want to have the according salary and so on and so on.
Mhm.
I have seen people doing this with quite some success.
Mhm.
It's like going into apprenticeship.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously tough if somebody is in a job, needs to make certain amount of money, and is kind of thinking about a change. But I mean, first of all, I would say not to take everything that's written on a job description as a gospel. Often a job description is more like a shopping list, saying I'd love to have all of these things from somebody, and maybe there's other elements that you bring that compensate for that. So I would always encourage to kind of have a conversation, but it comes back um, to what Katarina said earlier about speaking with people who are doing the jobs, and I think reaching out to the individuals to learn, to explain your situation. I think if you called a recruiter or HR person advertising a position and something that you want to reorientate towards, and can explain to them that you are currently doing whatever it is you're doing, and you have a goal in your mind to reorientate towards that. You don't have this one experience they're asking for. What you do have is XYZ.
Mhm.
What do they think? What's their opinion? Is it a complete knockout criteria? Am I crazy to think that I can make this transition? What would I need to do? Have a conversation, talk to people, get advice. Don't just assume that because something's written on a job description that it's 100% needed and that they're not going to consider you for it. Speak to people in your network and people doing the job. What do you think? What can I do to bridge that gap as well? Maybe there's a course you can do online. Maybe there's some volunteer stuff that you can do to gain that experience. Or maybe you've overestimated how important that one thing is, and that you bring other elements to the table that could be relevant for the company, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We have a couple of other comments that came in. I think that there's a bit of a lag in the feed. Vayara, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She says, in her opinion, changing jobs should be approached as building up on everything you've done and learned so far. Take the best from your previous experience, use it for the next one, even if it's a different field. So talking about your skills are relevant, even if it's not maybe in the same environment. They're agile and could be tailored for the right situation. I guess that again comes back to what we were just talking about. If you don't have all of the skills, maybe there's other things you have or other things that are transferable. Try and think about how you can connect your experience to what they're asking for, even if it's not one-to-one. It's similar, it's transferable. So yeah, thank you. And hopefully Vayara pronounced it right. So thanks a lot for that. Matt made a comment in regards to, I think this is coming back to the salary, and
yes,
talking about if somebody makes a change and you know, can you expect to make the same money, or you know, what if you can't afford less? And yeah, I mean, with fewer skills, as we say, in a new environment, you have less value. And I think, yeah, it's easier if you're young and motivated like Matt. It's maybe a bit harder for when you're a bit older. But I think that, yeah, hopefully it's going to pay off in the long run, as he says. So
yeah, Matt is of course absolutely right. I mean, there is of course a certain age, and it will be tougher the older you get. That's of course, that's just within nature of things. But think if you are 50 in Switzerland, you still have, as a male, you still have 15 years to work. So what do you do with 15 years? You have to do it somehow. It's like it just never stops.
Yeah.
And of course, if you are 63, just lately I talked to a guy who gets pensioniert within this year, and he's like super happy about it. And of course, if I would have talked to that guy like 2 years ago, I would have told him, yeah, man, you're absolutely right. Just stick where you are and get it done, you know, and then you get out. But I mean, if you are 50 or if you are 55, it's still 10 years. Yeah. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. And
a lot of time to be in a job that you're not happy doing, or you know, and that's precious time for sure.
It will be tougher, of course. It's easier when you are young, when you're in your 20s. Everything is easy peasy. But yeah, I mean, you're still young when you're 55, man.
Absolutely.
Still young.
Yeah. 50 is the new 30.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a couple more comments. We had Matt, a great bit of advice, small detail, making sure that you tailor your CV to highlight the things that people are looking for. So if you're applying for a job where you're reorientating yourself, make sure you really try to tailor it towards what it is they're looking for like examples. Even if you don't have exactly what it is they're looking for, try to relate that to the experience that you already have. In the best possible way, and bring that to the forefront and highlight it, because the CV won't be as obvious perhaps to a recruiter or HR person that you're the right fit based on the job titles you've had. So try to bring these skills and experience to the front, even, you know, the first things that people are going to see in the CV. And Katerina, one more thing, find people who've already made the transition. Yeah, that's a great bit of advice from Katerina.
Fantastic.
You know, if you're looking, and LinkedIn's a great tool for that, if you're looking at somebody's profile that is that they're doing the job that you want to do, and they were not doing that job before they got into the job, maybe that's a great person to reach out to and ask, hey, how did you do it? I'm looking to reorientate into it as well. When you're building up your network in these kind of ways as well, you never know when somebody turns around and says, well, actually, we're looking for somebody at the moment. There's so much, I think there's a lot to be said about motivation. You know, people hiring based on having motivated people who really want a job is so important, and sometimes can outweigh perhaps a skill or experience that is missing, I would say. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, I think with that, Lucas, we can bring the show to an end. Another episode of Ask a Recruiter. It's always a blast with you, and thank you to everybody who made comments, who asked questions. Thank you especially to Matt and Katerina, to Vayara, Barbara, everyone who commented. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I wish everybody a wonderful weekend. I'm off to Crete for a couple of weeks, so you won't see me as much on LinkedIn. So I wish everybody a wonderful weekend, and thanks again, Lucas, as always, for joining.
Hey, thank you. Lee, you're doing such a good job. I mean, your quality is so high on LinkedIn, the content that you put out, you and your team, it's amazing to see what you have done like in the last couple of months. Also with your, with Katrina, of course, it's amazing. And just keep up the good work. I think the quality of content you put out on LinkedIn is very, very high, and I really enjoy it every time. So just keep doing that.
Very much. Yeah. Thank you. It gives us inspiration and motivates us even more. We're trying hard to keep it relevant, to keep it consistent. So thank you. Appreciate it. And with that, we love you and leave you. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, everybody. Choose summer. Enjoy.
May the force be with you.